Former federal prosecutor Joe Moreno joins me. Joe, as most of us can probably predict, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton came out swinging in this statement. She's she's smart, and boy, she's 2x4 right between the eyes in this statement in the beginning.
Keep in mind, though, if the standard that the Democrats are laying out is that the reason President Trump is supposedly slow-walking this information is because he's hiding something, well, then the same standard should apply to Bill and Hillary Clinton, because they fought like heck not to let this day happen, right? They were subpoenaed by the House unanimously by the Oversight Committee back in June of last year, and they tried really hard not to appear. So good for them for finally showing up. If they have nothing to hide, let's hear it. But let's not have hypocrisy here.
She gave a statement in January under oath, or declaration, saying that she didn't know the guy. And you don't have to accept everything that somebody says. But there was there's no even suggestion she did anything wrong. And if I were in her shoes and I start getting a subpoena from a committee that I thought was partisan, I think to myself, if I don't stand up for my rights, what about the next guy? When I have the strength and power to do it. So, she went within the rules. She fought it within the rules.
She fought it within the rules, and she showed up. But again, if we're going by this standard, right, that if you make it difficult to force me to show up and give what I know, even if it's nothing, then I'm allegedly hiding something, well, then you can't have it both ways.
Well, if
right?
It's good for the gander, was it good for the goose, good for the gander, whatever it is, if that's the suggestion, then, the names are going to have to start rolling out of the Republican Party, whose names appear in all these records. So they're going to have to start subpoenaing Republicans as well. And, of course, that would go all the way to the top, to the White House, because President Trump's name's in this.
They should. The Republicans who control the majority should do that. They should be consistent. And if they don't, you better believe that the Democrats will do it if and when they take the House of Representatives next year.
I guess I sort of feel that before they even embark on this, they ought to have a purpose. The Oversight Committee is to oversight the government, and it's gone so far astray as to sort of being a Department of Justice in and of itself. I don't know the purpose of this hearing, of all these hearings right now. Statute of limitations have run. There have been ample opportunities to prosecute. Perhaps a lot of prosecutions should have been done that weren't. But I don't get what is the mission, the legal or congressional mission of this committee?
It's to embarrass the other side. It's to hope that there's goose eggs in there that'll embarrass either the president, if it's the Democrats' perspective, or vice versa, if it's the Republicans' perspective. Look, I think it's a positive thing that information came out in the last few weeks, particularly regarding foreign officials, that did have implications because it's new information.
Well, that was in the UK, that they were giving away trade secrets to the UK, which is different.
That's legit. That's legit. And there are criminal charges being looked at. But here in America, I really just think this is either just blatantly used to embarrass people politically, or in some cases are just outright accidents, like naming individuals on the House floor that had nothing to do with this investigation, but their names were in there because they were part of a lineup.
I object to this not being out in the open today, transparency. I realize it's a deposition they can do behind closed doors, but we have open hearings. And this is such a hot item, and there's so much rancor associated with it, to have it done behind closed doors. We'll get the tape later, but this should have been open.
Moreno, if we're going to do this, then sure, make them public, release the transcripts, and let's have it the same for both sides.
I think part of the reason they want to close it because the ones probably conducting the deposition are staffers and not the members of Congress. The members of Congress, on a lot of these hearings, they're fed questions by staffers.
Yeah.
That's the difference between a hearing and a deposition.
Look, as someone who, and I do value civility, and I think if just a few years ago, we would have cringed at the idea of dragging before Congress a former president and a former first lady. And I think that was kind of blown out by the left in the last 4 years, where they impeached President Trump twice and then spent 4 years to no avail, right? Because he wasn't separated in the Senate, and then gleefully spent 4 years having him arrested, mugshot, right, sitting in court for some ridiculous trials to no avail, right? And so I think now they've opened that door. I almost feel like dragging Bill Clinton before a House subcommittee is almost like no big deal, especially based on what the Democrats...
I agree with you, but somebody's got to say stop to this, or this is going to go on forever. And we've so diminished the respect for anyone in Congress now.
Call me naive. I had wished that when President Trump started his second term, he would stop the lawfare. I think he definitely could have been the bigger person to say, look how poorly I was treated. on specious grounds. Now that I'm taking over again, I'm not going to let my Justice Department be used for political purposes. I don't think he has done that, unfortunately. And so I think it's regrettable and inevitable that when power flips, and it always does, we're going to see the same thing continue.
Which is, and whereas the midterms, the Democrats take the House, there will be impeachment hearings, not just the president, but members of the cabinet as well.
From
and there'll
day
be no legislative progress for the next 2 years. It'll be the end of the Trump administration
Sadly.
at that point. Joe Moreno, always nice
Thanks,
to see you.
Greta.
Thank you.